Well, I mean, speaking of who would replace him, you've got something planned on Jordan Larsson, and of course, this being a Celtic episode, the name Larsson is going to ring in the ears of anybody who's listening from a Celtic disposition. He's been at Helsingborg. He's currently at Spartak Moscow. As a type of player, I think British audiences may not have come across him very often because Swedish football isn't mega here. Russian football is very sort of closed off, I think, to many people. So I mean, you've obviously seen a bit of him. You've watched him. You're assessing him. What's Jordan Larsson like? Is it going to be a fairy tale transfer?
That's what I was trying to decide in this latest video I was doing. I was like, is this viable, or are we all just kind of like hopeless football romantics? And just to establish, like, I don't mind if it's the latter. I don't mind that at all. For me, probably, he said a move to Celtic would be a dream move for him, which is always nice to hear, and it does tug at the heartstrings. But I'm not sure if, for me, to use his turn of phrase, if he would be a dream replacement for Odsonne Edouard, because I think stylistically he's quite similar to an El Yunusi, or maybe not a James Forrest, but the output might be similar from that right hand side if he replaced James Forrest, which might be something to think about. But yeah, like you said, I wouldn't hold it against English, British audiences for not knowing much about him, because he was playing Eredivisie football 3 years ago. And to be fair to him, wherever he's gone, he's rose to the challenge, and his numbers have gone up incrementally. There's no sign that he's hit his ceiling as of yet. He's the third top goal scorer in the Russian Premier League at current, and he's kind of like a high. He's only just morphed into an out-and-out forward, really. Yeah. Last season, he kind of split his time 50-50 with like attacking midfield, right wing being one unit, midfield unit, and then centre forward. This season, he's played 2,000 minutes up front. So it's clearly clearly Dominic Tedesco sees him as a centre forward, but still very creative. I think he's got his key passing numbers better than Odsonne Edouard's, and Edouard's are pretty solid at like 1.6 per 90. Probably lower than they have been in the last couple of seasons, because Celtic have been so reliant on him in a goal scoring sense. But yes, for me, Jordan Larsson, I think he's probably going to cost 10 to 12 mil if he moves. Spartak Moscow paid near enough 4 million for him from Norrköping, which already makes me feel a little bit uneasy. Like, they're going to want double, treble that, given the player he's become, right? I look at his expected goals and assist numbers. He's running a little bit hot. He's got a bit of a rogue shot location as well. There's like 2 shots against, like, I don't know if it was like FC Ufa or URA or some sort of acronym, that were like from 40 yards. And I was like, what are you doing there, Jordan? But
why are you shooting? Why?
Yeah.
Just get it closer to the goal.
I was just having like little flashbacks to some of Ryan Christie's efforts. But yeah, I think his expected goals and assist numbers, were better than Marcus Rashford. So it's about 0.61 per 90. So I think wherever he goes next, he's gonna be a goal threat. But like, is he a guy that leads a line? Perhaps not, because he's mostly played in a 2 as well, with Ezekiel Ponce and Sobolev, if I remember correctly. And those guys, they're pretty much I think Sobolev is pretty much at a goal a game as well. So clearly a side geared towards attack, towards kind of padding out those numbers to a degree. But yeah, I would maybe sign him as a right winger, or you could potentially play him on the left as well. If you're going to play if you're going to sign a big guy like I suggested, which was Roman Yaremchuk from Ghent, who's kind of a brick shithouse, mobile, very clear reference point if we're going to play 2 wide men. Very good movement, has sort of been a late bloomer, so might not cost. He's sort of coming into his own at around 26, so might not cost the earth. So yeah, I don't want to shoot down the romantics, but it feels like Jordan Larsson shouldn't be that high up our list. But I don't know what our list should look like, because we don't have a manager, we don't have a sporting director, so there's no continuity there, mate. We could well sign him. I don't know.
All I'm hearing there is there's vacancies, and you've been out there scouting for Celtic's replacement for Odsonne Edouard. So I mean, that's all I'm saying, right? I'm intimating that there's potentially a role there that you need to go into Parkhead and just be like, look, right? I know his surname's Larsson, but we can't do this just because of his name. It would be a fairy tale, but sentimentality aside, we've got to go for a Yaremchuk. Or somebody like that. I mean, in fact, speaking of shooting from stupid locations, I actually remember it might have been against Wolfsburg. Yaremchuk scoring a goal last season in the Europa League for Ghent, which was from about 40 yards, and he just absolutely wellies it into the top corner. Absolutely brilliant. And yeah,
well, they've been crap in the Europa as well the last 2 seasons, so he's probably just shooting out of desperation. Isn't he? Yeah.
He's someone that I could see, the celebration where you kind of run to the advertising hoardings, you stand on top of it with both arms stretched, and just the fans just crowd towards you. I could see that being that type of signing, that type of player who just loves the drama.
You might have read it as well, Soccernomics, but there's a little bit in that where they speak about Ukrainian footballers being chronically undervalued, and I thought that was quite interesting as well, because there's been some sort of weird transfer rumors surrounding him in the last couple of weeks, strangely enough. But the only team I clocked that had been interested in him prior was Sporting Lisbon in January, or Sporting CP. Not allowed to call him Sporting Lisbon, are you? Sporting CP. So yeah, I don't even know if a bidding war is going to emerge, or if Celtic just went in with an uncharacteristic bid of like 13, 14 mil. They'd just be able to get him, because I don't think Ghent are getting European football next season either. They were 10th last time I checked. So something's got to give after a pandemic. They're probably, prepared to shed a star asset to balance the books. But yeah, I probably would go him over Larsson, mate, to round off your question.
It's one thing that people are probably not going to want to hear, but we're coming back to that level-headedness. We like it. It's got all the trappings of a sporting director. That's all I'm saying. No more.
As long as it's part-time, innit? I like kicking around a bit on YouTube.